speaking of Israel, we have a returnee from Israel. Now, Ashley, first of all, welcome back to the program.
Thanks, Gerry. Thanks for having me on.
Great to have you. When did you get back in?
I got back August 10th.
August 10th. How long were you in Israel?
A total of 10 days, 12 days with travel.
What was the purpose of your visit?
I went with a group called Passages Israel. They're sponsored through Museum of the Bible and Philos Project. Their purpose of their trip is to give young Christians in the United States an experience of the Holy Land, as well as an understanding or a better understanding of Israel as a nation state today.
Now, you grew up in a very Christian atmosphere. I suppose your dad is a minister, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's a later career choice, but yes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought he always was.
No, just since he knew you, Gerry.
What do you say to that, JC?
I don't.
Oh, wow. All right, so would you find it a very enlightening experience? How would you describe this visit that you took now for the 10 days?
It was absolutely wonderful and really took, I think, the veil off of maybe the scariness of traveling to the Middle East, but also, furthered my understanding of things we talk about in church or at holidays of like our Jewish Christian roots. And it just, the country itself is just absolutely amazing and beautiful, and you could just feel Israeli culture just being alive and blossoming there.
Did you feel safe at all times?
Yes, I did. I really did.
I've heard that said, that even when you get on an Israeli airline, it's probably one of the safest places you can be in the world.
Certainly. They question you quite a bit before you get on because they want to make sure they understand the purpose of every passenger on that flight. And I really felt then when we did leave that everybody there had good intentions of traveling to Israel.
How did they feel about Americans?
I felt really welcomed and invited in the land. They were just as much interested about us and how we live our lives, but they also had a lot of connections at home. I met a guy in an elevator from Queens, and as soon as I said I was from the Cleveland area, he's like, "Oh, do you know Beechwood, Ohio?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." We're talking a bit about the Jewish Heritage Museum over there, so that was really neat to have that connection.
How would you compare it with, say, to visiting Ireland? Because you've done both now.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's entirely different.
Yeah, I mean, there's different things. When you go to the marketplace, there's the custom of haggling prices and stuff. It's very, very different from, how things are. But one of the things I will say that mirrored my trips to Ireland is lots of food. Just lots of food everywhere. And it's a way that people engage with each other and just sitting and relaxing and having great conversation. And I think that that's something both cultures really can connect on.
Of course, everybody speaks English, right? Just about.
Just about, they really do. It's not always the first language of people. Hebrew's taught in schools, and a lot of business is done through Hebrew, but most people know English as well. We also met people that spoke Arabic and English, or even Aramaic and English, which I found really interesting in the northern part of Israel.
Now, what part were you in most of the time? Where did you stay?
We traveled all over. For most of the nights, we stayed in Jerusalem, which was great to experience the city and the culture there. But we took a tour bus, and it would go out different places. We spent a couple nights on the Sea of Galilee. Our hotel was actually right on the Sea of Galilee. And I'll tell you what, Gerry, I saw the brightest shooting star of my life while I was swimming the Sea of Galilee. Yeah, it was just amazing. And one of those things where I feel like it's just a sign that this is where I need to be right now, and just to enjoy the whole experience.
But the fact that you were Christian made no difference at all. In fact, you felt very welcome.
I felt that people were curious about us because in Jerusalem and a lot of those places, there's a lot of people that have lived under the veil of, their own religion of Judaism, or even they know a lot about Islam. There's some Christians there, but there's a minority of Christians there. So they were just curious about different things. Our guide and our security guard on the bus, they participated in a lot of the different discussions with us, which was great. They had a lot of questions too about different things.
How many were in your group?
There was 39 of us
It was
total.
a big group.
Yeah, it was a good group.
We're going to come back and talk some more. I want to talk about the political aspects. Okay. If you studied a bit of that, I'm sure you did before you went. But I'm sure you did before you went. It's 10:29 here on the air. Okay. I don't know if I told you this or not. I think I did, but my granddaughter is Jewish. My granddaughter Megan, and her and I are going to make a trip to Israel one of these days. We went to Ireland this summer, but I don't know when that's going to happen, but I would love to do it. And she's listening to you this morning.
Oh.
In fact, thank you for bringing that nice little gift for her.
Absolutely.
She's going to love that. And for some reason or another, my headphones are not coming through on the headphones. But listen, I want to talk to you a bit about the political situation in Israel, which is in the news every day.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us would like to think that we know what's going on there, but I don't think we do.
No, and in fact...
It's complicated. Saying it's complicated, simplifying it a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the more time I spend over there, the more I realize that we just don't understand the long history of the area, or even the history globally of, you know, the diaspora of the Jewish people, but also, you know, the fate of the Palestinians when, you know, they were under the Ottoman Empire and then also British control before Israel became a state in 1948. So there's a lot of stories out there that are the, you know, victim-villain story of, you know, each side playing a victim, each side claiming that there's a villain. And it's complicated. I mean, there's been wrongs done on both sides.
Why would you say, this way it appears to me anyway, in Europe there seems to be a very strong anti-Israel feeling and much more pro-Palestinian?
I think in the more recent years, perhaps there's some guilt over imperialism and colonialization that's gone on, and from European powers who have that history, and then that kind of trickles down to maybe what they view as Israel being created as the modern state, them kind of having that guilt, and then the people that flooded back to Israel over that. Of course, it's such a big history, and each generation can only look through the lenses that they're given. I think it's just so important that we educate ourselves as much as possible on both sides of the issue. Talk to lots of people, not just Jewish people from Israel, not just Europeans, not just Palestinian Arabs, but everybody's got to be part of the conversation.
Of course, Judaism is a religion, it's not a nationality, and I think a lot of people confuse that. Is there any native Israelis?
People born in Israel?
Nearly everybody came there from somewhere else, didn't they?
Right. I mean, there's a long history, and it's again complicated because for them, religion and ethnicity can go hand in hand, and there's just a long history of people coming from different areas. I think today, I mean, people would say if they were born there, then they're native Israelis, right?
Did you meet many American-born?
Yeah. It was actually really interesting to see people my age that were born in the States that had come back to Israel, that were part of the Israeli Defense Forces, that went there to study, because they had been raised in pro-Israel homes in the United States, from, you know, their Jewish ancestry, and then decided to take the leap and support Israel as a state, so become a citizen there. So it was interesting to talk to those people and see their perspectives as well.
Do a lot of American students go to school in Israel?
I would say of Jewish descent, that's definitely a possibility. I think that's why they.
Oh, you didn't meet any at all?
Oh, we did. We talked to a panel of Israeli Defense Force soldiers. They were reservists, and a lot of them were going to school. There were 3 men on the panel, and even our security guard on the bus. He was born in New Jersey and had lived there and then come over as an adolescent, and his family moved back. Now,
what you said, a security man on the bus, was it a soldier?
He had been a soldier previously, because everyone has to serve. He was not in uniform. He's a part of a security company. But
he carried a gun, probably.
Yes. It's very typical on tour buses there in general, just to have a security person there, which is a little bit different than we do in the States. That's just a really normal protocol, though.
Are those soldiers everywhere? Are they very visible?
There are some. I was expecting to see more than what I did, but I also had the feeling that because it's such a secure place, that there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than what people see. So perhaps even people that weren't in uniform that are just watching over the stage.
Are civilians allowed to carry guns in Israel like they are here?
No. There's a lot of classes. Like I was talking to Nitai, our security person on the bus, and he said that even though he was a trained soldier, when he got out, just to carry that gun, he had to take a huge test and then take a class specifically to that exact pistol that he was carrying. And if he wanted to carry a different gun, he'd have to go back and take another class on just that specific gun, and then pass, psychological exams and what is his intention for carrying. For him, it was because of his job. He got hired at a security company and to carry that. The interesting thing, not all the guns, even with all these tests and everything, he couldn't take them to all the holy sites and different places. They weren't allowed in there anyway.
About the Rose of Tralee, which is going on at the moment. There's a lot of excitement going on there right now. The 32 young ladies that are in that, would you say that I've been on the nervous side?
Oh, certainly.
I would be if I was one of them. I'm telling you, I would be.
But they're busy having so much fun that hopefully they don't have time to think about the nerves. There's going to be a little bit, of course, butterflies, but the pictures, I don't know if you've seen any of the pictures, if you go on Facebook, if you go on the Rose of Tralee website, it's just a whirlwind experience. There's so many great things happening.
There's huge excitement in the town of Tralee, though, isn't there?
Yeah, Denise is down there now, Denise McConville. She's our executive director of the Rose of Tralee Center in Ohio. And Mike Lean, the president of the Ohio Rose Center, he's also there right now, in addition to all of Kathleen's wonderful supporters, her parents and her brothers, and even her boyfriend Corey tagged along. So.
And a lot of people from Cincinnati, the president of the Cincinnati Irish Heritage Center is there.
Yeah, Maureen Kennedy.
Maureen and her husband.
Yeah, they flew in. So it's great to see all the familiar faces, and then also all the new friends of the Ohio Center that are there, yeah.
Gosh, it'll be something if she brings home the crown here, won't it?
Oh my goodness. You know what though? Just the experience itself. Each woman, it doesn't matter how far you get, the fact that you're chosen or even choose yourself to be part of it. You're putting yourself out there and just letting your great attributes be celebrated and shared with the world. And I think that's amazing. With all 65 roses that are there, but also our women that have applied in Ohio to be contestants here. So it's been great.
Well, you went through it, right?
Yeah, I was in Port Leash, which was the regional finals. This year has been totally different because all 65 roses went to Tralee for the festival, which has been exciting. There's 65 escorts as well, and all the girls get to just experience all the excitement of Tralee together.
Do you know I have a lady staying with me right now, and she's from Kerry, she's from Valley High.
Really?
Nellie's cousin, Joni, is here, and I want to say welcome, Joni. It's lovely having you in our house. We're delighted to have you back. In fact, she and her daughter met us in Dingdale, and I don't know if you heard the program, the live broadcast of the program, with the girl that sang that day, sang live. This is her mom that's staying with me now. That's Sharon Hickey's mom. So she's here with us. She's sorry she's missing out on the Rose of Tralee, but she said it was much more fun staying in the Quinn household. Much more chaotic too.
I bet it's a good time with you, Gerry.
So we're having a great time with her. She's wonderful. A lot of fun. There's never a silent moment in my house with Joni and Nellie.
Not with you.
And I don't get a chance to say a word. We're going to come back and talk more with you
Monday and Tuesday, but you can watch that here in the States by going to rte.ie and downloading the RTE Player app. At 8 p.m. each night in Ireland, which would be 3 p.m. here, you can watch the Rose of Tralee live, which means Kathleen, who's going to appear on stage on Tuesday, you can watch her interview as she represents Ohio. And we all want to just give a shout out to her and her family and just give her all the love and support that we can while she's doing that. Tuesday night, they will be selecting the Rose of Tralee for 2016. It'll just be a great time.
I wonder if she's going to do her hoops act. Or did she probably did that already?
Well, she's done it in preliminaries. We'll have to see. That'll be the exciting thing that we'll have to anticipate for on stage when she does.
Now, what is that preliminary? What does that mean? You mean where everybody saw it before?
Right. So they did preliminary on-stage interviews that were not aired on TV.
Oh, it wasn't aired on TV.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that way, all 65 roses had a chance to still be on stage with Dahi. And then they narrowed it down to the 32 roses that will appear on RTE1.
Okay. I'd like his job for a year.
You'd be fantastic at it,
I'm getting
Gerry.
too old now, though.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Dahi's starting to show some gray, too. So.
Listen.
Yeah, but he handles it well. So
Let's jump back to Israel here for a minute. I'm so interested in this, and I'm looking forward to the day Megan and I can head off to Israel.
Oh, you're going to love it.
I really
Megan,
am.
you're going to love it.
You had some interesting talks by different people, lectures, I suppose you'd call them, or presentations. Tell me about it.
Right. So throughout the trip, they invited different speakers to try to give different perspectives on the Israeli as a nation state, on the history, on things in the media, just to help us get a better understanding of what's going on over there. There's some names that stood out was Dr. Tal Becker. He was a senior member of the Israeli peace negotiation team. He was included in the latest rounds of talks mediated by U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry. And so he had a lot of great insights on how hard it is just to negotiate between Israel and the Palestinian Authority on the peace talks and territory issues. Another great speaker we had, Dr. Phaedra Shapiro, talk to us, and she is the head of the Jewish-Christian Relations and Educational Center in Israel, and her main goal is to educate Jewish people about Christianity and Christians about Judaism, so that we can come to better understand each other in the long run and living in community together.
Mm-hmm. So you had several of those, huh?
Yeah, and the list goes on and on. I mean, it's hard to name them all. Another great person we talked to was Shadi Raisho. He was an Aramaic Maronite, so he has an interesting background because he is technically an Arab by nationality, by descent, but he's a Christian living in the northern part of Israel and just trying to get representation in the government and having people understand his background.
I was going to ask you that. How much representation is received by Christians and Arabs in the Israeli parliament? Or is there any? Some, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's some. It's hard to say because their parliamentary system is a lot different than ours as far as they don't have a two-party system, right? It's a multi-party system. So it really depends on the politicians and how well they can sway the vote. But when you're a minority, it is definitely hard to get politicians that fight for your issues in the government positions. So it was important for them to speak to us so that we understood just their struggles that they had.
I like what the Israeli Prime Minister said a few years ago.
Okay.
That's kind of a profound statement. He said this, and tell me, I'd like you to comment on it. He said, if the Arabs laid down their arms, there would be no more war. If the Jews laid down their arms, there'd be no more Israel. Mm-hmm. How accurate is that?
I would say that's definitely accurate. Israel feels like they're under attack at all times, and I think we can see that in the media. And that their main goal is just to defend themselves as a people to make sure their citizens don't get hurt. That being said, when someone's hurt, say along the Syrian border or the border of Lebanon, they will actually take, whether it's a soldier or civilian, and let them into the country to rehabilitate them and show them humanitarian aid. But then once that happens, they do release them back into the country which they came from. Because Israel does have a heart for people around the world and wanting to show love to their brother. But they have to defend themselves against people that are attacking them at all times.
I have never seen more generosity from people than I have seen from the Jewish people. Mm-hmm. They're the most generous, I think, in the world. Yeah. Give more to charity than anybody I've ever seen.
I think there's something with having a heritage of being oppressed that opens your eyes to the needs of people socially and economically that you're willing to lend a hand to your brother. In addition, I think there's with the teachings of Judaism of just showing charity to your neighbor or to someone who you might not consider your neighbor, maybe your enemy, but being able to show goodwill and love towards them.
All right, over to you, Edward Fitzpatrick.
We've got a happy birthday to Mike Clare. This is from the mayor of North Ridgeville, Tom Clare and Carol Clare, and all the daughters, and that they're heading up for Mike's birthday up to Toledo. Also, a big hi goes out to Jenny and Joe Gorman, who are visiting Marty and Ann, and they're on their way to the Indians game. So we're hoping they're going to bring home a winner, another one.
I hope so, and we're going to be watching that big winner at the Mayo Ball on the 15th of October. Paul Dolan said he's going to be there one way or the other. Somehow or another he's going to be there. Even if they're in the playoffs, no matter where he is, he's going to make an appearance at the Mayo Ball somehow, even if he has to do it by satellite.
Gerry, I heard from Bernadette Masterson.
Oh, yes.
Lovely Bernadette. And she has advised us that...
Nancy Corrigan, from the Nancy Corrigan Museum, is it?
Yes. She has advised us that the Chagrin Film Festival will be showing the English version of the film on Nancy Corrigan. It'll be in October sometime, so I'll update listeners when I get some more details.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, are they intertwined?
You know, it's a very strange relationship that I think I'm still sorting out from being over there.
Yeah.
Because the idea of Zionism and existing as a nation state is certainly tied to their Jewish heritage and part of their religion and existing as God's people. But in addition to that, they don't have idols and they're God's people first. So a lot of times with nationalism, you see a bit of like the worship of the nation state itself. Or your allegiance goes very strong, but they're definitely Jews first and God's people. But it's a strange tug of war. I think philosophers and different political people will be talking about that for a long time.
Mm-hmm. This little book here, A Shabbat of a Lifetime.
Yes.
What's all that mean?
Yeah, I want to talk a bit about that. So on Friday night is the beginning of Sabbath. So, we think of like going to church on Sunday morning. Friday night's actually the beginning of Sabbath for Jewish people. And one of the great things we got to do first was we went down to the Western Wall, also known as the Wailing Wall, and we got a chance to just go down there and pray. And I will tell you, going down at sunset when all these people are coming down to share this experience, but also to be in one, with God and prayer and singing and different things. There's just a feeling that the wind just picks up down there, and there's just like a spiritual feeling when you're down there. It's just amazing, unlike anything I've ever felt before. And then from there, we were invited into a home to participate in Shabbat dinner through a program called Shabbat of a Lifetime. And a wonderful family opened up their home to us. They spoke to us about the different prayers and rituals they have on Shabbat. One of the things with Shabbat is you don't do work for 24 hours. So interesting things happen. Like they lived on the 10th floor of the apartment building. Elevators, it's work for some Orthodox Jews to even push the button of an elevator. So one of the innovations they had was that one of the elevators stopped at every odd floor automatically and opened the door at every single floor, and the other elevator in the condo opened on every even floor. And it's just something that us Americans, especially Christian Americans, we don't have those types of rules or technology. We just kind of were laughing about. I took the stairs because I wasn't going to wait for the elevator to open on every floor. But just being invited into someone's home was amazing. For them to invite, we divided the group in half, and 20 of us went into their home and sang with them, had prayers, and ate dinner. And it was just a great time of conversation and fellowship.
Wonderful. It sounds like you had a great time, very educational, and you brought back some really great information to all of us, made us more informed of what goes on there. It's an interesting. So I'm looking forward to my trip whenever it happens.